The joint exam is upon us once again, but this time it comes with a few changes to the overall event structure. Changes that I think may be proving a bit difficult for folks, myself included. So, in this mini guide, we're going to go over what the joint exam is, what these changes mean, and how you can go about collecting Crowley coins for all these lovely rewards. For those who might not know what this is or may not have played before, the joint exams are battle minigame events where you can test the mettle of your cards in a variety of challenges. These challenges function in the exact same way as the regular exams, but with a few key differences. The first and most noticeable is that there are 5 challenges, not 2. Every elemental combo is available for play during these events, but the exam types still vary, so make sure you take note of this subtitle text before setting up your team. The second difference is that your joint exam grade is based off of a cumulative score. The scores of the individual exam challenges are tallied together to give you your final grade, which is displayed at the top of the page. Each of these cumulative grades will reward you with a different amount of Crowley coins and thaw marks once the event period is over, plus you'll get this fancy title for your profile to show that you participated. The third and probably most significant difference is that joint exams allow you to use a support card in battle. It's recommended that you use your friend's cards for extra coins, but you can use any support card the game gives you to help you reach the highest score possible. The fourth difference is that you can play 10 of these challenges a day instead of the normal 5. It's worth noting too that the joint exam does not override the regular exams. The two of these coexist in harmony, so you can participate in both during the event period. Once you've completed a joint exam challenge, you'll be rewarded with Crowley coins, which you can spend in the Crowley coin shop for a whole bunch of rewards, including keys, SSR perfumes, special voice lines, and special limited edition furniture items for your guest room. You'll also receive extra coins if other players select your support card for their battles. You can get an extra 10 coins per day this way, which doesn't seem like much, but it does add up. As simple as this event sounds, the actual battles can be pretty intense, and with the addition of extra hard mode, the stakes couldn't be higher. Well, I suppose anyways. The extra hard battles don't seem too much worse than the regular hard battles, but they do have a much better multiplier. However, difficulty is relative, so try them out and decide for yourself if they're a challenge worth tackling. Regardless, what's the best way to go about boosting your score to be able to get those fancy high-tier banners? Well, each exam has an elemental affinity clearly displayed that you should consider when creating your team. You'll want to make sure you have as many elemental bonuses on your side as you can, and for some exams like defense, you won't want to be weak to any of the spells. However, elements aren't the only thing you'll need to take into account, as each exam also has a type. This subtitle text is subtle, but critically important, as these types will tell you what you're actually being scored for during the exam. Basic exams test your damage output, so these score the total damage you've dealt during that battle, including any overkill damage. For basic exams, it's best to set up a team that prioritizes damage. Defense exams test your defensive capabilities and will score you based on the HP you've retained at the end of the battle. For these, it's best to set up a team that prioritizes healing abilities, debuffs, and health bonuses. Offensive exams are a newly added type, in which the game recommends doing as much damage as possible in as little time as possible. I've spent a good minute trying to find more concrete data on how this exam type works, but I haven't been successful. However, from my personal experience, this exam type seems to be like the basic exams, but on steroids, so your team needs to balance out damage and healers. I already have a guide that goes over the basic and defense exam types, which is linked in the card above. These exam types are the same in both the regular and joint, so the tips and tricks shared in that video will also apply here. And since that guide exists, I will not be rehashing all of those details now. However, I will say that from what I've experienced, it's much easier in the joint exams to reach the individual score TWST tier for these two exam types by using extra hard instead of normal hard. However, it seems like the individual score double S tier is still pretty easy to get on the normal hard. Regardless, I'm sure you're more curious about the offensive exams since they are new, and they have only existed so far in this joint exam event. Like I said before, these are akin to the basic exams, but they are on steroids, so they can be challenging to say the least. Offensive exams go for 10 rounds, and the opposing team's HP is mighty. Once cleared, the score screen will show you the round that you finished on as the scoring criteria, but I have no idea what kind of mystical math is happening in the background to turn 9 into 20-something thousand. What I suspect is happening is that the total damage dealt is being scored in the exact same way as basic exams. However, it's being weighted by the round. The quicker you can deal damage, the better, as the game suggests, because the weight will be heavier and increase your score more. However, if you're finishing on round 10, the weight will be super light, and even though you've dealt the same amount of damage, you're not going to score as high. This is my conspiracy theory anyway, as I was able to get an extra 1,000 points on the same difficulty level just from ending a round earlier, even though my health was drastically lower and my damage output was the same. I've not been able to find a source, like I said before, to confirm my suspicions surrounding this scoring structure, so take this with a grain of salt. What I can say for certain is that because offensive exams enemies have an extremely chonky health bar and the round limit is increased, you should set up your team to do both damage and heal. It's almost impossible to clear the extra hard offensive battles without some kind of healer, unless you have completely tricked out cards, but if you don't, you're gonna need a balanced team. Since you'll be spending a lot more time getting pummeled regardless of the difficulty, you're probably going to need to recover at least a little bit to keep your team in the fight. So instead of prioritizing only power like you do in basic exams, it's a good idea to incorporate healing cards into your team for offensive ones. If you can do this with a balance type card that also has a decent power stat, that's great. But if you can't, then try to incorporate a defense card that can also be used as a duo buddy for your attack type card. Duo magic is critical here because getting in those extra hits will get you closer and closer to ending the exam early, which will end up boosting your score. From my experience, the ideal team comp has a good number of duo spells and at least 2 healing spells. My Floyd card heals over time, while Malleus provides an instant heal, so the combo of these two for the water battle has been particularly nice. With a team comp like this, worst case scenario, you'll survive and win at round 10, clearing the exam to get you a much better score than losing would have. Best case scenario, you'll be able to end before 10 and get yourself some bonus points along the way. At any rate, if you're looking to get as many Crowley coins as possible, try your best to reach at least the S or double S rank for the cumulative grade. These give out a decent amount of tokens, and for the S, you don't even need to break 20,000 points in the individual scores. If you're looking to really fill your bank, then the new S4 and S5 ranks are your best bet. But even getting to triple S will still give you a competitive amount of tokens, so don't stress too much about these new ranks. During the event, make sure that you're using all 10 of your daily tries, even if you've already gotten your target cumulative grade. You'll get 3 coins for winning any difficulty without a friend, and 4 coins for with a friend. So each day you can net 30 to 40 coins, which over the course of at least this event will tally up to 180 or 240 coins. Setting up a good support card can also help you get those 10 extra coins from your buddies. If you have an SSR with an unlocked third spell that's at a decent level, you might want to consider putting it as your support. Or if you have a maxed out beefy boy that's not uncapped to that degree, but is still very powerful within its own right, then that can work too. On the topic of support, I should mention that if you're curious about a specific card, you can long press over the card icon to bring up its status screen. This can be super useful if you're trying to decide between 2 similar cards or want to know if they'll work as a duo buddy for someone else on your team. Crowley coins carry over between events, so if you're not interested in any of the rewards this time around, you can simply save what you have for next time. The shop stays open for around a week after the event ends, so you'll have plenty of time to pick up rewards once you receive your final grade coins. And that's pretty much all there is to it regarding joint exams. They're pretty self-explanatory if you're already familiar with the exam system as a whole. There's just a few slight differences that we've already discussed. The biggest changes this time around with the 11th exams are the new difficulty multiplier and the new exam type. But everything else is just business as usual. The newly added ranks are a cherry on top for those who are seeking a harder challenge, but the lower tiers all have the same exact rewards as past exams, so you're not getting cheated out of anything. If you're stressing about the S4 and S5, just don't. Just have fun, see what you can do, try to get the highest grade that you can get, and rake in the rewards that gets you. I hope that this little mini guide has been helpful, even if it's coming out a bit late for the 11th exam. However, if you're here for the 12th, 13th, or beyond, I hope you're better prepared for battle. So get out there, get good grades, and get those points. If you've enjoyed this video and want more like it, please leave a comment or a like, or maybe even a subscribe to let me know. And before you go, I'd just like to remind you that you're amazing, and I hope you have a wonderful day.